This is NBC 16 News at 5:30.
Let me be really clear. I am absolutely unwilling to lose an entire school year for any of our kids. A year that could be foundational to the lifelong opportunities for thousands of Oregon students. I will push, I will cajole, and I will demand nothing but excellence from our districts and our educators.
Plans for the upcoming school year will be tied directly to how Oregon is handling coronavirus. Governor Kate Brown, along with education officials and health experts, released new conditions for returning to school. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazur. Today, Governor Brown announced that the state test positivity rate needs to be less than 5% for 3 straight weeks for any kind of in-person classes. Now, as far as the county, there has to be less than 10 cases per every 100,000 people over the course of a week. That has to remain for 3 weeks as well. The conditions are less restrictive for kindergartners through 3rd graders returning to the classroom. That mark is 30 cases or fewer per 100,000. Officials say it's for a number of reasons, including the need to get these early learners back to school.
Studies show that younger students, particularly those in kindergarten through 3rd grade, kids under 10 years old, have lower rates of illness and transmission than other children, older children, and adults. Providing nurturing, in-person relationships and learning to our youngest children is absolutely critical.
Districts will also need to be in compliance with the Department of Education guidance and that COVID-19 is not spreading through the school community. The same applies to allowing remote and rural school districts with less than 100 students to resume in-person instruction. Looking at statewide COVID-19 cases, there are 342 new confirmed and presumptive cases and 14 new deaths. Oregon has more than 17,400 cases and 303 deaths. Umatilla reported the most with 75 cases today, followed by Multnomah with 74 and Marion with 40. That's more than half the cases reported today in just 3 counties alone. Here in Lane County, we have 464 cases. Health officials reported 6 new cases. 35 people are still infected. 2 people are hospitalized. Continuing coverage, Portland is now entering a 3rd month of nightly demonstrations. Just after midnight, Portland police say someone threw a Molotov cocktail over the fence surrounding the federal courthouse, starting a large fire. The fire was put out, and about an hour later, federal officers broke up the crowd.
What unfolds nightly around the courthouse cannot reasonably be called protest. It is, by any objective measure, an assault on the government of the United States. As elected officials of the federal government, every member of this committee, regardless of your political views or your feelings about the Trump administration, should condemn violence against federal officers and the destruction of federal property.
U.S. Attorney General William Barr testified before the House Judiciary Committee on several topics, including the violence in Portland. The House Judiciary Committee pressed Barr on the use of force against protesters. Barr says the federal officers in Portland are charged with a defensive mission to protect the courthouse, and he considers it under attack. But Barr reiterated to him and the Trump administration, law and order takes priority. Forest Service officials are asking for help in investigating 3 fires as arson near Lapine last month. The Roslyn Road Fire, Finley Fire, and Paulina Lake Fire are under investigation. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Forest Service arson tip line at 541-383-5717. All right, well, let's take a first look at weather. Heather Melendez joins us now. Heather, it's beautiful out there, the perfect day to go outside and play in the sprinklers, right? It's still hot.
Absolutely. Maybe go out for a swim if you want to. But speaking of fires, the Umpqua Valley yesterday had a fire weather warning, and here's a live shot looking very dry and warm. Now, yesterday temperatures were in the 90s, 99 here in Lane County, Umpqua Valley 96, and then our friends along the coast 64 degrees. We're slightly cooler today, specifically out in Lane County, but today 90-degree temperatures all across the board here here in the valleys. Those along the coast, 60-degree temperatures. Relatively cool. We started the morning with some morning fog, but as we move into the afternoon, we cleared on out. Looking at today, though, we are having a warmer night, 60-degree temperatures. Tomorrow will be another warm one. We're reaching 90s and will remain in the 90s for the next couple of days. I'll let you know, though, Jacqueline, when to expect a shift in a weather swing in my full weather forecast.
All right, sounds good, Heather. Thank you. Well, tonight, the Eugene City Council and Lane County Commissioners are meeting to discuss helping the homeless amid the coronavirus pandemic. Eugene officials say they've been tracking the homeless population for the last 2 years and say there aren't enough services to help them. The situation has worsened with COVID-19 and became dire when the fairgrounds and other emergency respite shelters were cleared out last month. There are 4 proposed strategies, including expanding safe sleep villages, utilizing motels and hotels, upgrading shelters, and less risky congregate shelters, which groups everyone under one roof. The meeting is happening right now. It is streamed online on the Eugene City's website. Well, the Eugene City Council has approved nearly $840,000 worth of funding for homeless and housing assistance. The money will come from a community development component of the CARES Act. Eugene Grants Manager Stephanie Jennings says half of the funding will support housing assistance. $300,000 of it will go to homeless services. The remaining funds will go to fair housing and enterprise business development.
We will be identifying providers and services to implement programs and assistance related to those 4 goals.
Jennings says the city will submit a proposed plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development next month. She says the projects and services could start as early as this fall. The city will be reimbursed after that. Well, formerly homeless veterans in Lane County are finding new purpose and meaning to life at a place that used to house jail inmates. It's called Camp Alma. Tom Adams joins us live in the studio with the latest on a program called Veterans Legacy. Tom.
Jacqueline is the first of its kind veterans treatment program in Lane County, a program that's been 4 years in the making. And for the first time, homeless vets are finding a way to heal by working the land.
He's a quiet man who's had a hard life on the streets.
Hey guys, girls, whatever.
But Army veteran Joe Key is finding a new life and a new tranquility out in the country.
Yeah, I didn't want to come out, and then I came out here, and I haven't got one regret.
The place is called Camp Alma. The program is Veterans Legacy. After years of planning and lots of repair work on the buildings, homeless veterans began arriving in late winter.
And really, when the world shut down, we opened up out here. So we have 5 homeless vets that are living out here now.
Joe Key was the first one to arrive at the camp.
Yeah, it saved my life. It actually did.
In what way?
Well, they got me from when I just got out of the hospital.
Joe's been out here since probably mid-February. He was our first one. He's probably gained 35 pounds.
Dan Buchwald knows this camp like the back of his hand. He worked here for 13 years when it was the Lane County Sheriff's Office Forest Work Camp.
And even though it was a phenomenal program, when the Sheriff's Office had it here, we want to take it a step further because veterans are not inmates.
The idea out here is for a therapy program built in a rural setting. Therapeutic farming is the main tool. The vets have set up a produce stand. Surplus produce is sent to a food pantry in Veneta. And someday, tiny houses will be built at the camp.
It's a joint venture with Springfield High School to do some of the design work for tiny homes that we're going to build here for homes for the vets.
So that the vets here can learn a trade and some new skills. A future in the sunflowers that looks brighter than ever for guys like Joe Key.
I'm going forward all the time now.
Now, all the more amazing, Buchwald says Veterans Legacy has no formal funding right now, no grants. They're relying on the support of community partners like Chambers Construction, Remax Realty, Twin River Plumbing, and many other local companies.
All right, thanks, Tom. Well, coming up on your only local news at 5:30, one district in Douglas County received $20 million. How one school is using that money for some new renovations. Plus, water rescues are happening nearly every day. What river safety tips Lane County Sheriff's Marine Patrol want you to know about.